Welcome back to SkywayTj, and today, let's review Captain Marvel! If you guys are new here, welcome. This is part of my 2019 review series where I review every single movie that I see in 2019 that comes out in theaters. If you like this type of content, hit a like button. Subscribe for more. I make videos twice a week, sometimes 3. Without further ado, let's review the MCU's newest smash hit, Captain Marvel, starring Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, and more. This movie kicks ass. I fucking hate everyone who reviewed it early and were like, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's just a feminist blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm a critic. Blah, blah, blah. No, this movie is great. I think the only problem with this movie is that it's right before Avengers Endgame, so it's just kind of like in the way a bit. I think if it came a bit earlier, it'd be better. But regardless, this movie is great, and people are shitting on it for no reason, and they're stupid, because this is a good fucking movie. So here's your spoiler alert. I'm sure you'd want to see the movie before you watch this, but if you're dumb enough to watch a review before you watch the movie, then, you know, there you go. So basically, Brie Larson plays Captain Marvel, and she is part of a star force for the Kree race, and they send her on a mission with her boss, commander or whatever, named Yon-Rogg. And she has no memory of her past life. She doesn't have very many memories. All she can really remember is that she's part of this Kree race, or so she thinks. During a mission to help rescue one of their spies that they have spying on their enemies, she is shot down by Skrulls, which are the bad guys in this movie, and she crash lands on Earth in the 90s. Which is where this movie takes place. She gets held up, she interacts with S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Nick Fury shows up with Coulson. It was great. She goes to fight a Skrull on a train, and Nick Fury chases after her, and he doesn't believe that there's shapeshifters on Earth until the dude who he thought was Coulson riding the car with him turns out to be a Skrull. He gets in a car crash, and then he starts to believe it. So then Captain Marvel and Nick Fury team up. They go back and they search an old database to try to find out about her past life and about an old project that someone named Pegasus was in charge of. And then you find out that Pegasus was a woman which is Captain Marvel in this universe, and that she was actually a Kree, and they do all that, and then she was actually Marvel was trying to stop wars by giving the Skrulls refuge, because you find out in this movie that the Skrulls aren't as bad as the Kree are making it out to be. So Captain Marvel feels betrayed because the Kree are actually being more extremist than the fucking Skrull. So then she's caught in the middle, and she doesn't understand why, and she starts to feel betrayed by the Kree for lying to her. She eventually meets back up with someone from her past named Maria Lambeau, who was also a pilot, and they find out that that Captain Marvel was actually a woman named Carol Danvers, and that she was a test pilot. She got in an accident, and she exploded Marvel's energy core, and that caused her to absorb all of these powers, which is why she could shoot photon blasts, she could fly, she can go fucking binary, etc. Later, the Skrull is a dude named Talos, and he's played by Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn explains his situation, why he's been chasing her down, and that he just wants her help to find Marvel's lab so that he could find a safe place for him and his family and his race to live. So eventually, Captain Marvel comes around. She understands that she's been lied to by the Kree. She switches sides, and Nick Fury, Talos, and Maria Lambeau go up and find Marvel's workstation. They also bring along Goose, which everyone thinks is a cat, but it's actually Marvel's pet alien cat. I think they called it a Furklin or something, and that just leads to all kinds of shenanigans. They find Mar-Vell's workstation, and there's another energy source there, which is what they need to help the Skrull. They think that's what they need to help the Skrull find a new home, because it can warp people through light speed. The Kree show up. It turns into a battle, but before that, spoiler alert, the power source is the Tesseract, which is the first Infinity Stone. So that's how Nick Fury ends up having it in the first Avengers, because, you know, so basically, Carol tells everyone to escape the research station, the Skrull, Nick Fury, Maria, Goose, and that she's gonna stay behind, fight the Kree, and cause a diversion. She kicks ass. She goes binary. She destroys everyone that was in her Star Force, and she flies through the fucking sky and punches ships down, and she kicks Yon-Rog's ass, Jude Law's character, and it's just great. She sends his ass back to the Kree, telling them to tell their leaders that she's gonna come fix what this all started, or fix this whole problem that they started. And yeah, she comes back to Earth. She says goodbye to Nick Fury and her friend Maria, and she gives Nick Fury a pager and says, "This is for emergencies only," and that's the pager we saw at the end of Infinity War. So that's how Nick had that. She tells him for emergencies only, but then, like, as I was watching, I was thinking, like, well, there's been a lot of emergencies that Nick didn't use it for, you know. Loki invaded New York in the Avengers. The elves try to destroy the world with the ether in the Dark World. Ultron. Whatever. It's fine. But I just thought that's a small nitpick on that. So yeah, then Captain Marvel takes the ship of Skrull off into the cosmos, and that's where the movie ends. And then the post-credit scenes, big spoiler alert if you don't want to know anything about those. Just skip to the end of the video or just click away. See ya. The mid-credit scene is the Avengers that are left. So, well, not all of them, but Bruce Banner, Black Widow, and Cap, and War Machine. They found Nick Fury's pager, and they're analyzing. They're trying to keep it on and everything, and they're like, they want it to keep broadcasting because they know Nick had a plan for something. And then it goes off, and they're like, well, I want to know. Black Widow's like, I need it on to find out who was coming. And then Captain Marvel just shows up, and she's like, where's Fury? And then it just cuts out, and then it's like, yeah, Captain Marvel will appear in Endgame, as if we didn't fucking know that. But yeah, I was like, now I can't fucking wait for Endgame. And then the post-credit scene is Goose throws up the Tesseract because he ate it earlier in the movie because he's an alien creature. He just throws it up on Nick Fury's desk. It's just one of those funny ones, but still worth watching. So yeah, that's how Captain Marvel ends. This is a good Marvel movie. There have been some crappy ones back in the day. Some of the MCU has their flops, but this is a good addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would give this one a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10. It's really, really, really good. It's solid. The critics are stupid. It's a good movie. It's worth your time. The only nitpicks are that it comes out right before Endgame, so it's kind of overshadowed by that, and that, you know, some of it doesn't make sense with, like, you know, she's like, use it for emergencies only, and he never used it until, you know, Thanos exploded half the fucking universe. But it's fine. Captain Marvel's great. You should see it. If you're a superhero fan, you're gonna like Captain Marvel. It's amazing. Well, guys, that's been the review of Captain Marvel. If you like what you saw, drop a like, subscribe for more. I'm gonna be reviewing every movie in 2019. That includes Shazam, Endgame, The Lion King, the new Star Wars, everything that comes out this year that I see, I will be watching it and reviewing it for you guys. Leave a comment telling me what you want to see next. And that's it for today. There will be new videos next week. I believe there's 3. And I'll see you guys next time. Go see Captain Marvel!